Not so long ago, Panasonic launched the Lumix GH7, one of the best all-in-one cameras ever made, with almost everything that an amateur videographer or photographer would want. Despite the hype around full-frame cameras, the GH7 has everything needed to capture stunning images and amazing videos without any limitations. But what you see now isn't footage from GH7. And this isn't a video about Lumix cameras, because you don't need the latest gear for your images to look good. The excitement of getting new gear is undeniable. I often feel the urge to buy the GH7 myself. It's fun to upgrade and get better hardware every time. But here's the real question: will I take better photos or shoot better videos with it compared to my old hardware? Will the higher dynamic range of the GH7 make a noticeable difference? If you work commercially, you probably have a clear idea if your new hardware will improve your work. But if you think new gear alone will make you a better photographer, you might not like what I'm about to say. The footage that you see is shot with a more than a decade-old camera and lens that costs around $100, using a completely amateur approach. It was recorded handheld, without any cinematic intentions or high-level skills. I wanted to focus solely on the image quality of old, inexpensive gear. It's a reminder for all of us, myself included, that while new hardware is fun, it's not the holy grail of visual arts. We live in extraordinary times, where cameras can be categorized as good or very good, and if you choose hardware wisely, you can record stunning images with crappy hardware, because the quality of the image is largely defined by the things in front of the camera, not the device that you capture it with. This footage comes from Canon EOS M with Magic Lantern installed. Yes, Magic Lantern allows raw recording on this old, frankly terrible piece of gear. I bought this camera body a few years ago for less than $50. Nowadays it's become somewhat popular thanks to YouTube, but you can still find it for under $100, which is overpriced in my opinion. Think about this. Over a decade ago, an entry-level mirrorless camera had hardware capable of producing above 4K quality in 12-bit RAW. Official modes offered only low bitrate, crappy Full HD recording. The elephant in the room is that camera sensors haven't evolved as much as we might think. They gained a bit of dynamic range, some are packed with more pixels, but the difference is negligible. Electronics and software driving these sensors have improved, but manufacturers have also artificially limited most of their devices. That's how a free market works, and it is not a topic of this video. Story with Magic Lantern is just a proof that if you think that new sensor in new flagship is something that really differentiates your new purchase from the old hardware, you are looking for differences in the wrong place. If the scene you are capturing is well lit and looks great in real life, it will likely look great on camera too. The magic happens in front of the lens, not inside the camera body. Here you can see images taken by an EOS M and a Pixel 6 smartphone. Despite the phone's aggressive software enhancements, the results are still quite nice because of good lighting. Most of the scenes that I showed you in my cinematic setup breakdown videos were taken by Lumix G9 with Vlog profile. It's just 8-bit H.264 recording. Nothing fancy, but really for amateur videography, a log profile is usually all you need to get very close to raw image quality, as long as you don't plan on heavy post-processing. Log profiles for video are quickly becoming the standard in amateur-grade hardware. You can achieve similar picture quality with the Lumix GH5, which can be bought for under $500 used. It has everything you need, even for commercial work, as long as you don't require reliable autofocus. The Lumix GH4 and GH5 revolutionized both commercial and amateur videography a decade ago, making high-quality images affordable and accessible to almost everyone. This trend poses a challenge for the tech industry, which relies on convincing us that each new generation of hardware will significantly enhance our photography or videography work. That's why I started this video by talking about GH7. It's the first camera I feel isn't artificially limited in any significant way, marking a milestone. I'm curious about where the market will go from here. Features like slow motion at over 400 frames per second are niche capabilities. Resolutions above 6K won't become standard for many years because of how we currently consume content. Additional dynamic range makes little difference for experienced videographers. Smaller cameras are impractical. We've seen a return to larger pro bodies for ergonomic reasons. It's fun times ahead of us, and the liberating thought is that the biggest impact on the image quality comes from the skill of those planning the content. Gaffers making good lighting conditions, operators leading a camera with intention, directors that plan different framing to tell a story, documentarians that look for depth in subjects. We all know this, that even with RE camera the picture can look very bad if you aim it in bad direction. It doesn't mean it's bad for hardware manufacturers. Once you know that your camera can capture a good picture, you start investing in accessories that can truly impact your work. Depending on your style, this might mean a well-placed handle on a camera cage, quality audio equipment, or a good fluid head tripod to stabilize your shots. Lenses can get better and smaller, offering more focal range or becoming more affordable. Modern camera monitoring is still lacking, as I discussed in my other videos. Tethering and post-processing software are on the brink of an AI revolution, and we will likely see many new tools supporting photography and videography. Going back to the EOS M, I've shown you images taken with an old vintage lens adapted from a Minolta SLR system. These lenses are cheap and not very sharp. This footage, however, is taken with a modern yet still cheap Sigma lens. The difference in sharpness is clearly visible, and this level of sharpness is more than enough for feature films in cinematography. Sharpness or pixel counts aren't what make the difference anymore, it's the quality of your work that does. This video isn't my typical educational material. It's more of a rant after seeing how surprisingly nice the image quality is from a camera that would now be considered a toy. If you have all the hardware, I urge you to do a fun project with it and compare the results to those from your state-of-the-art gear. It can be quite amusing to see how good the results can be from an obsolete camera. For me, a bad picture profile in Rec. 709 space is the most limiting factor in amateur videography. Recently I looked back at videos I made almost a decade ago when I had no experience as a photographer during a holiday visit to Japan. I used an EOS M3 which had terrible video functions. It recorded in Full HD 8-bit Rec. 709 footage with a very low bitrate. There was no stabilization, just a kit lens, and I had no knowledge about video work whatsoever. The only adjustment I made was modifying the picture profile to something similar to the cine style. Even with its visibly overexposed highlights and my obvious lack of skill, it reminded me how good results can come from so-called obsolete cameras. So next time you're tempted to buy the latest camera, remember this: it's not the gear but your skills and creativity that truly make the difference. If you've got few $1000s for your new gear, it's always better to buy or rent only the thing that you really need and put the rest of the money in education or just great memories. For instance, if you want to create lifestyle or travel videos, buy yourself a trip to a nice place and try to make the best video material that you can. Few days of planning, recording and critically assessing your footage can make you better in what you want to do. And with that message, I will leave you there. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon if you like this video, but please don't do it if you didn't like it. See you soon.